Alright, we're going to be getting back into Diablo 2. So what is Diablo 2? Well, it's a game developed by Blizzard North, published by Blizzard Entertainment. This is before it was Activision Blizzard. It's released on June 29th, 2000 and June 30th, 2000 for Microsoft Windows in North America and Europe, respectively. Released on July 26th for macOS, the classic version, and for the modern version was released on March 11, 2016. Diablo is one of those games that basically defined a whole new genre of game, made it mainstream, the action, role-playing, hack-and-slash style game. There's single-player and multiplayer features. And it's actually quite a long game, quite a long game with quite a bit of replayability. Considering you can do Battle.net and play with other people. There's a fair amount of lore in the game that you can come across as you play. Basically, the game progresses through 4 acts. When you die, you come back to town where you have your own private little stash. You put stuff in. It's usually a good idea to put your coins in your stash if you're not going to use them. There's a variety of randomly generated weapons. There's a variety of classes you can choose. You have the Amazon, Necromancer, Barbarian, Sorceress, Paladin, and with Druid and Assassin with the expansion. It takes place after the first game, Diablo, in the world of Sanctuary. And an unnamed warrior defeated Diablo, attempted to contain Lord of Terror's essence within his own body. Since then, the hero has become corrupted by the demon spirit, causing demons to enter the world around him and wreak havoc. So, you progress through 4 acts, and in the end, you slay Diablo and you destroy some items to ideally prevent the demons from returning. This game has a wonderful soundtrack. It's really fitting for the game. Controls are fluid. You know, there's a bit of jerkiness in the graphics. That's more a result of me trying to record and the game not really being designed for Windows 10. The way stuff's laid out, it makes sense. You have a lot of hotkeys for special attacks and everything. Let me find the map. It's one of these. Okay, which one's the map? There, oh, tab, that's what. The way this map's done is actually pretty well. You can adjust where the map is and keep it over your screen, but it's transparent enough where you can actually continue playing the game underneath it. Come across different things. I didn't really need that health shrine. I'm not too concerned about some quill rats at this point. And as you go to an area, it maps it out. And as you kill something, the items drop to the ground. You just click on them. Click on stuff to attack. Use hotkeys. Oh, what's over here? A healing shrine. some slightly stronger enemies here. There's just enough lore in this game for somebody who loves lore and adventures in games.
I am overburdened.
They can find something. Got experience shrine. Oh, a whole mess of enemies. Let's get a whole mess of people around me and make things exciting. I've always liked the barbarian type characters. You only have so much stuff you can carry, so there is a degree of inventory management for this game. And it's one of those games where, despite the graphics being a bit rough by modern standards, the graphics do have a bit of late 90s charm to them. And you still tell what everything is. It doesn't really affect the gameplay experience. I still haven't had a chance to play Diablo 3. And I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about the game. But most people, if they love Diablo 1, they typically love Diablo 2 as well. It's actually a much better received sequel than Diablo 3 was to the second game. Of course, the amount of time it took for Diablo 3 to be released compared to 2, compared to the amount of time between 2 and 1, it's really not all that much of a surprise. It wasn't well received. You have a fatigue meter here, so while you can run away from stuff, it's not always the best course of action, because you'll eventually become too fatigued. It's a good idea to carry potions on you and everything to help prevent that. So you advance through the game. The levels do change quite a bit as you advance. You end up in different cathedrals, castles, and eventually you'll end up in the underworld. And you'll fight different things along the way. Yeah, level 14, these guys that are bothering me aren't anything except a minor nuisance. Try to stand here, they'll eventually kill me, but and they do seem to have some degree of AI where they'll move forward, move back, and kind of they'll move in such a way where it seems to make sense. Like they're actually trying to plan attacks in a reasonable way. So what else? It's a fun game, easy for people to get into starting off. It becomes one of those games where to become a really expert Diablo 2 character takes quite a bit of time. And most of the games that I believe are some of the best games ever made are they're easy to get started in and difficult to master, and they have a variety of things you can do that make it replayable. Whether intentional, like this game with the multiplayer features, or something like Super Mario, unintentional, through things like speed running. And I thought I could leave. Let's go to something more exciting. There we go. Let's fight something more fun. Here's a bit of grind to this game. At the same time, most of the time you'll be having such fun playing the game, you won't even notice the grind all that much. And environments for being this style of game are actually pretty interesting and look pretty decent. You do have a variety of attacks to worry about. There's poison attacks, there's projectiles, there's melee attacks, there's magic. So, where do I rate this game? Let's go ahead and close out for now. We'll save. And even now, it's easy to find a multiplayer game of Diablo 2. So where do I rate this game? I do believe Diablo 2 is one of the best action RPGs of all time. And it's, as far as PC games go that have a multiplayer component, multiplayer and single player component, it's up there. And if I had to make the list of top 100 PC games of all times, it's easily in that list. And I would say it probably pretty easily in a top 50 list, you know, as far as games I've personally played. It can be a bit repetitive. It can be a bit clunky at times using the whole mouse movement, clicking, a lot of clicking. It can be slightly repetitive. I don't think there's anything here that really breaks the game or warrants a lower score. The question is whether this is a game that's good enough to actually go in the 5 category. And I am going to make the potentially, no matter where I put this on our current list, it's going to be controversial to a degree. I'm going to put it number 4, below Darkfall Rise of Aegon, and that's a review assuming that you have enough people to actually play the game properly with, and above Super Mario 3 for the Nintendo. But really, any of those 3 games, any of the games I'm rating a 5, about anybody could get into, and with the exception of Arcanum, have a low barrier to entry. So it's not like a game like, let's see. A game that's on my upcoming list, Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, a game that will be in the 4 or the 5 category. It has a fairly steep learning curve, especially for the casual gamer. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed the review. Some footage of the beginning part of Diablo, and it does get more exciting than that as you progress. And that's my second review for the day, so it's off to figure out what game I'm going to play now that we made it through Arcanum. So, have a great day. Please like, subscribe, and watch some of my other videos.